Okay. We're ready?
Yeah.
I picked a National Geographic tour in general because I wanted to travel somewhere and I didn't want to do it just like either with my family, we go to tourist spots, or with a typical tourist, like a tourist company. I wanted to do it with National Geographic or someone like them where I knew the experience would be different. So when I got the magazine, it was like 40 different countries that I could pick from. And I remember I circled a couple, but Iceland I like circled and highlighted and starred because I remember thinking not only that they had a cool climate and geology section that I know that would be really interesting to me, but also because I knew the people who would go to Iceland would be the kind of people that I would want to talk to, not just the people in my group, but just the people that I would meet and interact with.
I was really interested in the film on assignment program that was offered here. I'm an actor, obviously, and I want to look into film as a possible option.
I decided to come to Iceland because I love traveling and I love photography, and so this was a perfect program because there's traveling and photography.
What has been your favorite part about being in Iceland?
The hot dogs. Just kidding. It's fun to see you learn things. I think that's one thing that I get from teaching at home. Or teaching during the school year is like the light bulb moments. Those are my favorite. It's really fun to explore that with you guys here and to watch you, whether it's create a film or create photos or like ask questions about geology and climate, to be really thoughtful about your experience here and the landscape we're experiencing. It's my first time here too, so it's a good check on like my own critical thinking of being connected to a place.
Before coming here, I was really worried about just encountering new change because I'm a person who doesn't deal with change like super well, get like super scared. Normally, like if I take like a big risk, I'll want to run away because it'll be too much for me.
The scariest thing about coming here was the group. I've had some bad experiences both when traveling and when at home. Groups who tend to group off, especially a large group like this one, and they tend to stick to themselves and leave other people out, and I was always the person who was left out. So that was something that was very scary for me, especially because we were doing very group-oriented activities. I was really scared that I would come here and I would just be another face in the crowd. I would not be someone who would actually be doing change.
I'm kind of worried about failing.
We did a hiking trip when we were staying at a schoolhouse, and originally when I went on it, I didn't think it was going to be super difficult, but as we climbed up, it was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, like in terms of physical activity.
Going into it, I really did not have any idea what to expect because I thought glaciers were just like these, like icebergs actually just floating. So I was like, how are we going to climb when there's water beneath us? Like we're going to die. We were going to die. But then once we got there, I realized that they were brown because I thought all glaciers were white, but hence they're not. It's actually, there's like a lot of beauty in it, and so it's just really underappreciated, I think.
Failing is something that everyone encounters, and also like happens when you take risks.
It means a process of acceptance and sometimes facing facts that you don't want to face. Failure does not necessarily mean you messed up, it just might mean that you're not ready yet.
Oh! The car ride back was my favorite part because so we were in these huge trucks that were like monster trucks with huge wheels, and we were off-roading it basically. There was like a path, but it was really bumpy and there were just big rocks in the middle of it, so we were just bouncing back and forth. And so that was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed that because you couldn't really control your body, so you're just literally flailing in the back of the car. And so I couldn't stop laughing. And then because then other people start laughing, and whenever people laugh, I laugh more. So it was just kind of going back and forth, and we were just bouncing around and laughing in the back, and it was so much fun. So that was a good time. Probably my favorite part of yesterday.
So I read Em's book for the first time last summer while I was in Svalbard. So that was pretty special to be reading about glaciers when I was falling asleep to tidewater glaciers out my window every night on a sailboat. But Em and I both have stories of survival as a product of like familial loss. In her case, it was her parents. In my case, it was my dad. And we both have chosen to survive the trauma that loss can bring. And I think we both have a pretty big connection to that survival being tied to land and exploration.
It has been a lot to me to come here and be with National Geographic and do all of this. Being on this trip has taught me so many things about culture and film and meeting new people, and also just like having fun and enjoying life.
Part of the reason I brought my ukulele and my watercolors and things like this is I am the sole science representative on this trip. And yes, that's my background, but my approach to science, I like having fun through these other more artistic mechanisms, whether it's rewriting a song, like sitting on top of a moraine. Like we're still talking about where we are and like what we are on geologically, right? But we're having fun with it, and that's a way to make it more relatable. And then drawing and painting is something that like can help you actually like interpret and digest a landscape. So don't put yourself in a box, because you have such a different breadth of understanding when you actually go deeper through different mediums and different subjects.
That's it.